Hello, hello, everybody. I think we're live. I think we're on air.
Like we're good. I think.
I think so. Can you hear us? You should be able to hear both of us. Oh, another thing to remember for the future.
Yeah.
Audacity. Well, unless you want to just keep doing the audio the way that you've been doing it.
Hold on.
Oh.
That's webcam, I think, isn't it? That's kind of what it sounds like.
What's webcam? Hello.
It sounds like the audio is coming through the webcam.
Hello.
But it's picking up on both.
No, yeah, because it's in what's it called? It's coming up on the Scarlet.
Right.
It's not, the webcam's muted.
Okay.
So
all right.
we should
Well,
be
as long as
good.
we're good, I think.
I think so. Does this sound like good audio to you guys, or does this sound crappier than usual? Because it should definitely at least sound as good as usual, hopefully better than usual. But let us know.
You know what it is? We're like robotic.
Really?
Yeah. It honestly might be the mics.
Hello.
Or it might be our vicinity.
Maybe it's.
But we've said.
Maybe it's because
What?
again, maybe it's because it's connected to the front of the PC.
But no, I don't think so because that's what I did with. That's what Danielle uses her. She always connects
okay.
to the front.
Huh?
Or no, she. Oh wait, no, she doesn't.
Audio is fine.
No, sounded like robotic to me when I listened to it on YouTube.
Maybe it's just like the downstreamers or something. But we should be in 1080 60.
Okay, never mind. That sounds fine.
Sounds fine. Okay. I think we have to get our ears adjusted to it because it normally sounds very different.
I also think.
Are we in 1080 60?
Yeah, we are.
Cool. Word up. I wonder if I do this, if I can read the chat better. Nope.
Probably can't read that
Cannot
at
read
all.
that at all. You read it better there. Okay. Yeah. All right. Welcome everybody. Welcome back to. We're a minute in. Welcome back to Planet Film Network. Welcome back to Planet Film Live, episode 57. Episode 57 of Planet Film Live, and as promised, new night, same location, but permanent location.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, permanent location.
Yeah, Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Skipped last week because Sean had a root canal. Oh, you gotta let me know. You gotta let me know about the root canal.
Yeah, we got a whole story about that. Don't you worry. But yeah, welcome everybody to the show. How have you been before we get to my root
Pretty
canal?
good. I guess I'll tell my. I don't know if I want to tell it. No, I'm not gonna tell my story because it's kind of annoying.
Oh,
yeah, I don't feel like getting back into it.
fair enough.
But I've been busy. I haven't had a lot of time to do much. Like I haven't watched a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've been going out like every single weekend, like every Saturday for some dumb reason.
Mm-hmm.
So usually it's like Saturday I
It's like your chill day.
clean, go out, and then like Sunday I'm like scrambling to finish my homework while also watching like the Bills games and stuff like that. Speaking of the Bills, I guess I'll say one quick thing since we missed last week.
They're on a tear.
You heard me say, I think going into the second week of the season, I said if 3 weeks from now if they're 2-2 or 1-3, I will be very nervous. Right now we are sitting at 3-1,
Which is great.
We've not faced the best competition.
Who's next week?
Next week, this week is the Chiefs.
Yeah.
This is the big week here.
Mm-hmm.
If we win, I think we are first or second best team in the AFC, maybe top 3 in football, like the whole NFL.
Top 3 in football. You heard it here, folks. That
That
wasn't a sentence.
But yeah, I think that Steelers loss will just live in infamy for the rest of the season. Like if we go like 16-1, it'll be like,
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
you know, because
That was a big choke, right? That was a big choke moment.
Yeah, it
We were
wasn't
doing
even
really
that
good.
they didn't even play, like the defense still played good.
Mm-hmm.
The offense just could not do anything. Like we had that one touchdown.
Yeah.
But the only reason the Steelers like really won is because they had a punt block a punt block,
Mm-hmm.
and they ran it back for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So they kind of just won the game on special teams mostly. And then obviously we smacked Washington around like 46 or no, sorry, it was Miami 35-0. Washington 46-21, I think it was 46. It wasn't even that close though, because they got like a garbage time touchdown, so it was more like 46-14. And then we beat the Texans last week 40-0. So we basically outscored our opponents in the past 3 weeks 116 or so to 21.
Wow.
But those teams are not very, like, if we're being completely honest. Texans not good at all. Not a good team. Granted, early their like first 2 games, they looked like they were kind of like a little feisty. Like they could kind of be like, we're gonna lose, but we're still gonna fight. You know, this game was like, it seems like it was like over after like the first touchdown, or even after the first like drive they had. Like our defense just like shut them down completely.
Didn't we get like a interception really early, and then
we had like 2 or 3 interceptions and like 2 forced fumbles or something. Like it was ridiculous. Well, Josh is literally for his first throw, he threw an interception, and then I was like, oh boy, is it gonna be like one of those days where nothing goes our way and we're gonna eke out a win like 21-17 or something. But we got back on track, killed them. After the Chiefs, like it's honestly kind of.
Do we have an easy road after that?
Pretty smooth sailing. I think we like.
What does that say? Bills are what?
Bills are 0.75%. So 3 out of 4 basically. Perfect. I'm assuming that's what she means. Hold on, let me look at the schedule. Yeah, so we have the Chiefs. So that's toss up. Chiefs defense terrible. Can't stop anything. Can't stop. I don't know, like running water with something. Bills defense, very good.
Yeah.
So that's toss up. Then we have the Titans, who I think we should win that. Dolphins, we should win. Jaguars, we should win. Jets, we should win. Colts, we should win. Saints, I'm not sure. Patriots, we should win. Bucks, I'm not sure. Panthers, not sure. Patriots win. Falcons win. Jets win.
So we got kind of.
We probably should be like, probably like 14 and.
So you're saying we're
3?
We're probably gonna win the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying that because there are some really good teams.
You think we're definitely making it to the playoffs, though?
Oh,
no
we'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah, no question.
Maybe we split, like, because we faced New England twice. Maybe we split one apiece. Because they're just, they have good defense, stuff like that. But like the Jets, I'm not worried about. Dolphins, I'm not worried about. I am a little nervous for Tampa Bay, but that's like week 14, so we have a long way to go.
That's Tom Brady.
Yeah,
give it up.
Yeah.
He won Super Bowl.
He did.
43 years old, oldest in the NFL.
But
in his home city.
Yeah. No, wait, what?
Yeah.
Well,
Tampa Bay,
his home team.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like where he's born.
That's the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He goes there 1 year. That's where the Super Bowl is, and he takes them all the way.
They had a lot of talent before he got there. They just did not have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like they had a lot.
And then they got the best quarterback of all time.
Basically, yeah.
Question mark. I don't know why I keep looking over there at the camera, but the camera's right there. Yeah.
But right now it's literally just the team is all defense.
Yeah.
And we're putting up points, but I don't think the offense has like totally hit their stride yet.
Ours?
Yeah, like where they were last year.
Yeah.
But
do you think that's a failing of Josh specifically, or just everything?
He's not like he hasn't looked as good as because when we went to when me and my friends and everybody went to the home opener, we were like, oh, this pick up where we left off last year. We were cruising, like we were just rolling teams at the end of the season. And obviously it didn't go that way. But it seems to me like this team always needs, like the past 2 years, this team has needed a loss to kind of like wake itself up.
Yeah.
Like last year when we lost to the Cardinals on that Hail Mary, we had like an 8-game winning streak after that. And the same thing with this. Like we're just murdering teams after we lost a game we probably shouldn't have. And it's funny because like that Cardinals game, like we thought we were gonna win because Josh Allen made this like amazing throw to Stephon Diggs in the end zone, and then like I was at my friend's house at the time and everybody was jumping and everybody it was, I forget how much time was left. And I told him, I was like, there's a lot of time left, like don't get all too excited. And then of course they scored and they got mad at me, and I was like, I 10 seconds left. You can do a lot with 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. I don't remember where I was, but I remember being somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was somewhere with my roommate. I think we were at like Buffalo Wild Wings, and that place went crazy. I think, yeah. I can't remember if that was the game, but I definitely remember being like around people who are like super into football when that happened. It was like, oh shit, they're pissed.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it kind of woke us up as a team. But yeah, I'm excited. Sunday night game this Sunday. Yeah. I'm nervous. I shouldn't be, because this is like one of those because we just haven't beaten the team yet, so we need to beat them. But because this could be a potential playoff matchup again. So
yeah.
Other than that, I don't think I have anything else.
Well,
sorry. Got a letter in the mail. I've been summoned for jury duty.
Really?
Yeah. But it did the whole thing, call on October 19th, and you'll see if your number is picked. I got grand jury duty 2 years ago, before the pandemic, I believe. And then I you can type an excuse like, oh, blah, blah, I'm a whatever business owner. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a student, full-time student. And they basically emailed back and was like, we don't care. But I didn't get picked, obviously. Yeah. But I was like, oh, okay. But this time I don't have an excuse. So I'm more weary of getting out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd just be like, oh, what's the case? It's somebody stole a bunch of traffic cones. Just be like, a traffic cone killed my great-grandfather.
I'm biased towards traffic cones.
I'm not. I can't be partial. Speaking of, actually, I want to transition into some of the stuff that I've been watching. So on Hulu, they have FX on Hulu now, right? With, when Disney bought everything. There is a show called The Premise by B.J. Novak. Have you heard of it?
No.
So it's basically, like name suggests, it's a different premise every single week. And it's got a totally different cast, totally different crew, genre, vibe, everything. And it's really, really good. And the first one's about, it's like kind of this like dark comedy, almost like a Black Mirror type thing, but not quite as like heady about it. Like it's a little more like obvious.
So is it an anthology?
Yeah. But there's like no connection. Like it could be like I said, the first one was kind of like a dark comedy, like courtroom thing. The second one was like a big drama, kind of like a little bit of a lightness to it, but like a big dramatic episode with John Bernthal and Boyd Holbrook from Logan, the blonde guy. That was really, really good. But yeah, the first episode was like a courtroom drama, and that reminded me of that with like the jury and everything. But that's pretty good. I haven't caught up on the most recent episode of that. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, I guess we'll talk a little bit about, or I'll talk a little bit about the What If finale and the What If season. I know you're not fully caught up on it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the What If finale was today. It was very good. It was very, very good. They built. So what's the most recent episode you're on? You were on episode 5, so that was Killmonger and Stark, right?
I that's where I have not seen that episode on.
Oh, really?
So we're really behind. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Killmonger, Stark. Oh, what was it? Killmonger and Stark. Party Thor. Oh yeah, so you've watched 5 episodes.
Yeah,
you need to watch Killmonger and Stark. You need to watch
Party
Thor.
Yep.
What If Ultron 1, and then the finale.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: if you, where are you at with the show right now?
I like it. Trying to remember, like the best episode in my opinion so far is the Doctor Strange one. I really like that one. The Peggy Carter one is kind of just Captain America, just instead of Steve, it's Peggy.
Yeah.
The Chadwick one was pretty good. I liked. And what am I missing?
Oh yeah, that was a sad.
What's the 4th one? Oh, the zombies.
Yeah,
I kind of like that. I like that one too.
Yeah, and then what was episode 5?
Got a little brutal too there sometimes.
What was episode 5?
Is it episode 5 the Killmonger one?
No, that's 6.
Oh. I don't know.
5?
I can't think of it.
Peggy Carter.
I was gonna say Wanda, but that's the zombie one.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Oh, I'm missing the all the Avengers are dying, getting assassinated.
Oh, the second one.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's
I like
why.
that one too.
Yeah. So episode 5 was zombies.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But my favorite so far is Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was Captain Carter, T'Challa, Star-Lord, everybody's dying.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange, zombies, Killmonger, Party Thor, Ultron.
I think the reason
And in the end.
I think the reason I'm not, or me and Danielle are kind of just not like, oh, we need to watch it right now. It's because
Say it.
I just don't think it's not must know information right now.
Okay.
What?
That's what I wanted you to say.
Oh yeah.
It is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
okay.
if you finish it, it's some stuff goes down.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
a lot of stuff goes down. Because we kind of figured like the promotional material and stuff. It was all like the Guardians of the Multiverse or whatever.
Right, yeah.
So they were gonna have to come together to fight this big fight. But people were kind of thinking, well, what if that's just like because Hyundai or Hyundai, whatever you call it, released
I've seen those
ad
commercials.
that
Yeah.
was like all of them taking on like the Ultron bots and stuff, and then Thor comes in a Tucson or whatever, whatever their car is. So people were like, oh, maybe all that's just like for like advertisement's sake, and like it really is just individual stories. But then it all came together in the finale, and I think it came together very satisfyingly. And the third, well, first of all, the 8th episode, which is What If Ultron Won, that's like insane. That episode is insanely good, and then the finale is even better. Like it's minimal setup and then just like so much great action, and it's like the way it just felt like a really cool, interesting mix of like an Avengers team.
Right.
And how everyone's powers would work together. And how, like, okay, well, to make her kind of withstand more of a fight against a giant vibranium robot with all 6 Infinity Stones, like, what could Doctor Strange do for Nat? Like, to make her not just be murdered instantly. Or, Super Soldier Serum aside, Peggy, for that matter. Like, and, like, that's really cool, like, what he does for them and stuff. And T'Challa too, because he's just wearing a leather jacket. But it was really good. And you're like, why is Killmonger on there? Like he's a villain. It's like there's like a satisfying end to that too, and it's like, even when you think the watcher doesn't know what's going on, he does, and it's like it was just very, very.
Is
cool.
the finale longer than the other episodes, or same length?
It's like the other ones are like 30 minutes with credits. This one was 35 with credits. So it was like, it was like pretty much the same, but I guess a little bit longer.
I mean, to give you an idea of how far behind I am on anything, I've only watched one episode of Star Wars Visions, and those are like 15 minutes, maybe less.
So
I have not finished Visions either.
I only watched the first episode, which I really liked.
Yeah. That one was the duel, right?
Yeah, I've heard some of them are kind of boring.
Some of them that I've watched, I think I have 3 left. The last one that I watched was The Ninth Jedi, which was like amazing. The Ninth Jedi, I think, because I watched them out of order. So like The Ninth Jedi, I think was my favorite out of all of them. And then The Elder was really good, and The Duel was really good. And then I liked Tatooine Rhapsody, which was the like musical episode. That was the one that like had the most to do with in canon stuff, but it's still not like canon. But it was pretty good. I mean, all in all, I would say like it's pretty hit or miss, because it's like you take all these studios and creators and stuff, and you're basically like, all right, do what you want to do with Star Wars, and it's like, so you're gonna get very
variations,
unique and very, very like steadfast versions of the Star Wars galaxy.
Idea.
Yeah.
You take the anime style, right? I'm mostly thinking of the only episode I've watched, the first episode.
Yeah.
You make a game of that.
Oh, like Tsushima, like Jedi?
Yes. Yeah. I think that'd be like very smart.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Maybe you even get if you're licensed. I don't know if who else like who they license the property out to. But if
Well,
you give it to Sucker Punch, then you just do the same thing.
The contract with EA is non-exclusive anymore.
Right.
So I think they could do it to anybody. I think they could give it to anybody that they want.
After maybe you take like I'll be honest, like that weapon that I think the Sith uses it. She like
the girl, like the umbrella one.
Yeah, I was like, that is sick. Like, I could see that being like a weapon, like a game that I would love to use or something.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it kind of made me want to go back and play Ghost of Tsushima some more, but I haven't got to it.
Yeah, I think it's really gonna be like. Some people are gonna and people have said like Star Wars specific channels out there and stuff and like reviews in general are like and the good thing is if you're like 4 or 5 minutes in and you're just really not liking the episode, you can just skip it and just be, because it's like it doesn't build on anything. Like I'll say, I think a lot of people with What If thought it was gonna be like what Visions is. Or it's just like
that's what I thought.
It's all totally disconnected and it's just gonna be complete one-offs and stuff. Visions is What If is not. Like What If definitely all comes together.
Cool.
But yeah.
All right.
Yeah, in cool ways too. It was that finale was just really good, and the action that was the most satisfying battle in the MCU. Like if that battle was in live action, people would be like bowing like at the altar to that movie. Like literally, if that was live action, oh my god. If we even get a fraction of that in Multiverse of Madness, like it's crazy. The stuff that Doctor Strange Supreme was doing was just insane. But yeah, oh my god, yeah, it was just so good. And really, honestly, the action was incredible because it's one of those things where you're like, oh, okay, they're just. I mean, this isn't a spoiler because this isn't what ends up happening. But there's a point where you're just like, oh, okay, they're just gonna like hold Ultron down and just like punch him a lot, and then that's gonna be. And I was like, okay, and then that doesn't work, and then it's like they kind of have to work on their feet really quick to actually do it. And it gets oh, it's just really, really good. It's really, really good. And even though Hawkeye is not in the final battle, what they do, like kind of the way that his presence is felt in the final battle is like really cool because it builds on an earlier episode that you're like, because that Hawkeye's not around anymore. But the way that they're kind of like honor it, it's almost like a reverse Nat situation. In our Avengers like Endgame. But yeah, it was really, really good. I recommend to everybody to watch, like catch up and watch What If. And they're definitely doing a season 2. Like I said, there was only one. So there was one episode which was what if Tony Stark got sent to Sakaar instead of Thor, or instead of Hulk. And like Tony Stark became like the champion or whatever.
Right.
That episode got pushed. That episode got completely cut out of the season.
Okay.
Because the first season was supposed to have 10 episodes. In that episode, they just did not have enough time, so they had to cut it completely. But the finale still involves. The finale is still like they're in the finale, like him, like the Iron Man from Sakaar is in the finale, and you're kind of like, what? Who's this? Like what? Like, but he's not like a member of it. Like it's the person that he's with, and he's like. Tony's like, all right, I'm ready for it. And the Watcher's like, not you, Stark. And just like leaves him behind. But yeah, so that was a little jarring, but I mean, we're going to get that story next season. So it's like, whatever. But that was a little jarring because it was like, there was just a piece of the, like one of the members of the team that he collected was like, it was the first time we'd seen them. And he was collecting it like, we saw everybody else.
Right.
But yeah, I just think, and the characterization was really cool, like to see the different versions of similar characters, like that kind of thing, like because there's some that are like so on point, exactly the same as our MCU's version of them, and then there's some people that are just completely different. Like even though he went crazy and evil and stuff, like Doctor Strange Supreme is still very much like Stephen Strange, like normal Stephen Strange. Whereas like somebody like Peggy, obviously she's completely different. Like she's a completely different person. But yeah, I would say overall, I'd give What If and the finale specifically. I guess I'd give like, let's say like a
4.5.
Yeah, I'd say like a 4.25 out of 5. Really, that's really good. Way better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But I definitely think we made the right decision with not doing like a Planet Hero every single week, because it was like they're just, because for the longest time it's kind of like, remember like Mando season 1, it's like, is this building to something?
Right.
Is like every episode, I remember that, and then somewhat with season 2 too of Mando, but definitely season 1 it was like, okay, this is cool, but like,
where are we going?
Yeah, where are we going with it? And then it all tied it together in the very last episode. Like, that's basically what this did. So you're like, are these gonna cross over? Like, are some of these gonna cross over, but the other ones are just pure what ifs, but they all come back around, which is really nice. Even the zombies. But yeah, really good. And hopefully we'll have your thoughts on it soon-ish.
It should be next week or two. We'll probably finish it. But yeah, I got that. I got Ted Lasso. Like I said, I'm only behind one episode. I watched one episode of Scenes of a Marriage on HBO. Yeah? I would like to finish that. They're like an hour long though, so I think that's like it that I'm trying to think. I think I'm caught up on everything else. Morning Show I'm caught up on. Have you tried anything else on Apple TV at all or no? Obviously, you said you tried the what's his name show.
Oh yeah, Mr. Corman.
Yeah.
The Joseph Gordon-Levitt one. That was okay. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, and it wasn't as good as I think he could do. Like I think it was a little watered down. Like the premise was not really that strong.
Did that I always forget his name. He started a new talk show on Apple.
Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
I actually started watching that. The Problem with Jon Stewart is called, which I love that.
Is
name,
it funny?
But, yeah, it's pretty funny. It's very much like it's very much more like Last Week Tonight, like with the bigger editing and like that kind of stuff than he was with the Daily Show, and it's less like scripted stuff with like Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell and how he had those people on the Daily Show, but yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good.
I was thinking about checking it out, but I never watched the Daily Show or anything, so I was like, I don't know if I'd like it or not, or but yeah, I might give it a shot.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything like movie wise that you want to talk about at all or no?
I mean, I saw anything. If you guys are following us on TikTok at the official PFN, I saw like the card counter.
We talked about it last week though.
No, we were off last week.
Or 2 weeks ago, we talked about it.
Oh, we did talk.
Because I was like, I want to see it, and you're like,
that's right. Yeah, I was like, you could skip it. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I think I watched it that morning or so, or the day before or something. So yeah, I already watched that. But yeah, since then, not really. The main thing that I guess we'll talk about next, so I have to pitch you on, is Squid Game.
Yeah.
Which out there, a lot of people are going crazy about Squid Game. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about that.
Okay.
It is amazing. It is very good.
Basically, from the gist of it, I just got that it's some game where, like red light, green light, you're caught running, you're dead. That's basically what I have got from that. I don't know what else. Like, I don't know if this is some mastermind, like hiring or kidnapping these people, putting them in a game like Saw, and then having these I don't know if it's anything like that or.
Well, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah.
9 episodes, an hour long, about right.
Is it 9 or 8? I think it's 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, that's why. So it's 9 episodes, but the 8th episode is like 21 minutes long.
Oh, that's weird.
It's like, well, it's kind of like, because like it's kind of like a whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Boom. It like. So, but the it's like it's 21 minutes, but a huge character thing happens, and there's a big moment in that, and then it like cuts, and you're like, oh my god, and then what I love when shows do is, or movies, like, because I love a good movie that just like, oh, that's it. That's all you got. That's where the story ends. And you're like, what happened? This, like, it finishes, and then you go on. You see the next year, what happens the next year after. Like, where everybody's at type of thing. And it was very, very well. Oh, my God. Just so well done. Avoid spoilers at all costs, I would say.
Will do.
Because and obviously the other one is like the butterscotch or the whatever, the carving thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, that's
I've been seeing it all
too.
over the place. I'm like, I don't know what that.
It's really driving me nuts on TikTok because there's this one guy that he just started the account like last week, and he's got like 8.7 million followers. Like, and all he posts is he just makes those things, tries to do it, and then it breaks, and he goes, and then it like somebody pretends to shoot him, and that's all TikTok.
Geez.
That's all his TikTok is. But it just drives me nuts because it keeps getting recommended to me, and the whole point of the thing is it's made super thin, so it's hard to do. And his are like these like thick blobs that he's just like taps it and then it cracks.
So
in
he'd
half.
die basically. Is what
And he like, but it's like it looks nothing like it, and it's like, okay, if you're gonna make a TikTok about it, at least be accurate to the freaking show. But yeah, the show is so good. There are some big like twists and turns and stuff. One big twist, I would say one of the biggest twists I saw coming, but it didn't lessen it because I saw it coming. But it was so worth it. What's this here? Just talked about it on my pod. Decided we're watching Squid Game when he gets home. Yeah, there you go. Boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
so good, and it's so bingeable. So be careful. If you, I mean, maybe you'll get home. If you get home around like 10, or like 10:30. Well, what time do you think we get home?
I work in the morning.
Oh well. What?
You said, aren't they an hour long?
Yeah, I was like, you probably watch like 3 episodes a night. Go to bed at like 1 or 2.
No, maybe we'll see.
I think
I am interested though.
They're like 47 to like 53 minutes.
I am intrigued.
Yeah, you could definitely watch at least the first one. I'm just warning you. You will want to keep watching.
Okay.
There might be a lull, because that's another thing I want to say about this too, and you'll know exactly what I mean once you get to like the 4th episode. So the games are happening, and then you're like, there's like a thing that like means that the games won't happen, like they're just gonna stop, and you're like, well, they're not gonna do it because clearly there's more like in the trailer, and there's 5 more it's like the 2nd episode that this happened, so it's like there's 7 more episodes. They're not gonna stop, and they do. Like, that's a very light spoiler. But I was like, in that moment, I was like they're not gonna do that, and then it was like, psych, no, we did. And then you like go back out of the games, and it's like people are like, what just like what, like it's like them coping with it, and then a series of events happens and the games are happening again. But it's just like it's just like, that's just a very minor thing that I just want to give you an insight on. Like it takes you, so I don't want to even use the phrase because of certain franchise,
right,
but it subverts your expectations like so well. Like it pulls it off very, very well. It's just so enjoyable, and the acting is great. But yeah, the dub is terrible.
Okay.
The dub is say you say, oh, but you always complain that your back hurts so much. Say that.
Oh, but you always complain that your back hurts so much.
Like that. Like that's literally what we're dealing with. The dub is terrible. But throw the subtitles on and put it in its regular Korean, and you'll be fine. Also, to anyone that is going to watch Squid Game, because it comes up a lot, 1 billion Korean won is about 100,000 US dollars. So the main prize money is 45.6 billion. I think that translates to about 400 million US.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. So it's because their money's super inflated. And that's the other thing too, is that's all I've talked about so far is just like the cool stuff about it. Like, it's also a riveting like subplot on debt culture and like how debt.
I was gonna say, is this relating only to like a Korean, kind of aspect of it, or is it like you can pull things that are like?
Oh, it's
related to
absolutely,
stuff like
it's
that,
absolutely, it's like humanity. But I mean, it's all through a Korean lens because it takes place in South Korea. But it's like it's everybody. Like there's one guy that's he's not even Korean. There's like a guy from Pakistan in it. Ali, he's a really good character. But yeah, it's like it's just about the whole world, but it's specifically about like debt culture and what people are willing to do about their debt and what people are willing to like basically endure to
get out of it.
To get out of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's all I'll say because it's really, really, really good. And I know if some people are like, "Oh, he gave away a lot," I really didn't give away anything. Yeah. Everything that I said is in the trailer. I think even them stopping the game is in the trailer.
Okay.
But yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah. So it probably won't be next week, I'm guessing, but like hopefully in a couple weeks we'll get your thoughts on it.
Yeah. Real quick, speaking of Netflix, I just want to touch on this. I don't think we never brought this up at all. I just wanted to gauge if you have any excitement for this. Did you hear about the Tiger King season 2?
I did.
Are you excited anyway for that? I think it's going to be like Making a Murderer Part 2 where nobody cares. Because they did do that. And I doubt it. I don't know who watched it. But
I watched Making a Murderer 2, and I'll say there was a little bit more to it because there was a little more closure. Because I think that goes into... I
don't even remember what happened.
The second part of Making a Murderer, which is talked about in Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Stay tuned for the second half of the show where we'll be doing a full review and spoiler talk. Making a Murderer 2 like gave a little bit more closure because I think it went into like Brendan getting out of prison, and like they were like Steven gonna get out soon, that kind of thing. I think he's still in, right? Isn't he?
I have no idea.
But that gave at least a little more like progression to where.
But it wasn't needed.
It definitely wasn't needed. But it at least had more progression. Yeah. I think it's just gonna be more of the same. It's just gonna be. I forgot who.
Let's talk to Joe. Saying. Let's talk to Joe on the phone.
Yeah. Oh, it was Conan O'Brien. It was Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. It was his podcast. They were like, "Did you see that they're doing a second Tiger King?" And it was like, it's just gonna be more of like, I think it was like one of his side people that he has on. It was like, it's just gonna be more of like, I didn't do that, bitch. Like,
I'm never going to financially recover from this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just gonna be him talking into like a prison webcam, just going, I did not do that. Like, it's like
you literally sound like Andrew Garfield in Eyes of Tammy Faye. Like Jim Baker.
You cannot be saved without a donation.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. There's gonna be a civil war. Go check out Jim Baker buckets.
I was gonna say something.
But yeah, I just think it's gonna be. I think nobody's asking for it, and I think it's gonna be useless.
I just think it was like it came out perfectly. Like we were just all ordered to stay in our homes, and as much as people like to say, like, obviously we didn't run out of everything to watch because there's like a million things to watch. But it was like a perfect timing thing where I don't think you can like recapture whatever that is. Plus, I don't think there's any more to the story. Like, you told me everything.
Yeah, like imagine if Marvel had like way more in the pipeline, and like imagine if this year of Disney Plus shows, imagine if they had all those in the can and we got to watch those during quarantine. Like
boom, boom, boom.
Like we would be like, please let us stay home forever. Like, why would we go to the theater? Like, oh my god! And Disney Plus. I mean, obviously, it went berserk in COVID, way more than they ever thought. I mean, I think it was like, wasn't their original projection that they would hit 90 million users in 5 years, and now they're at like 130 million. And it's been we're coming up on the 2-year next month. But that's insane. But yeah, oh my god, that would be crazy. Like, imagine we were in COVID and they were like, don't worry guys, I know you're all locked down, but March 18th, WandaVision episode 1, 2020, oh my god, we would go nuts.
Okay, so I want to touch on one more thing that we can go to box office, and then we could probably just do Venom after that.
Because there's a lot.
So real quick, I just want to talk about, because this just occurred to me. So we like binged morning show, we caught up, And I forget if it was after the first episode of season 2. I'm just gonna be vague
because I don't know who's seen it and stuff like that. I found it. I don't know if I was a fan of how this one character came back, where it literally seemed like, a few minutes ago they're like, "Oh, I have this job at this local station, that runs itself."
Yeah.
And then he's back. I'm like, he literally just said like, "Oh, if I see her, I'm gonna have some words for her," And then she knocks on his door, and he's like, "Oh, when do I start?"
The way that I saw that, because I was very like, "What the hell?" Like I was not, I did not like that. I think we're probably going to see repercussions on that, especially with his personal relationship that he has this season that he didn't last season.
Yeah, because don't you think his wife would be like,
yeah, like what? Like
you just said this place runs itself.
Yeah, you're supposed to be like changing. But I think it's one of those things too that like the subtext was like it runs itself, so like he feels kind of useless in it,
yeah.
Which like obviously
and it's more rewarding, I guess.
Yeah, because it's like he's built up to be like he's the best in the business at this. So it's like I feel like he kind of feels like he's just being wasted, and like he's not pushing himself, that kind of thing. So like I said, I think hopefully if the show continues to be good, hopefully there's a circle back to that in a couple of episodes. Also, it's not the same job that he had before, so it might not even be fulfilling. Yeah. It's a personal, not the actual show.
What's her name? I think Danielle also agrees with me on this. What's her name in Venice? I want to say.
Oh.
Very annoying.
Paulo.
She's
whatever?
fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Like that one scene when they're sitting at the table talking, and he gets like the news notification on his phone, and he like puts it down, and she's like grabbing his phone.
And he's like,
it's like,
don't grab my phone.
Don't touch my phone.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would have been like. And she's like trying to like manhandle out of his hands. I was like, can you just chill?
Let's just say let's ask about this. What do you think about now? I don't know how far it's gonna go.
Oh,
but
are you gonna talk about this relationship that kind of sparked in season or episode 2 or 3?
Oh no, no, not that. I mean, we can talk about that.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Danielle literally blurted out 5 minutes before it happened.
Same. I saw that. I was like, because we haven't really gone down that road with the main character yet.
Which is also not somebody I thought they were really building up tension between. I mean, I could say their names because
again, we're talking very vague.
Corey and Bradley.
I thought that was where they were going.
I think maybe that's where they're gonna go, like Endgame.
But they could also do both.
Yeah,
so
I think like this is like a temporary thing, and like maybe they're Endgame or whatever, or maybe Corey's just destined to live alone.
I don't think so. He just seems like I don't know. He's just again I just always feel like I should not like the corporate CEO guy, but he's just like too.
He's
funny.
he's too likable.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? How do you feel that they're trying to almost redeem Mitch?
I don't know, because
they're not socially.
I don't know how they're going to though.
Exactly, but I think he is trying.
No, yeah.
But how do you come back from that?
I don't know. I mean, that'd be one thing if they were trying to redeem Martin Short, which I don't know if we're gonna see him. Have we seen him?
No, I don't think he's in season 2.
Oh,
yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I don't know how you get redeemed, especially with what happened at the end of the first season.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
and
I'll be honest, when former CEO showed up, I was shocked.
I was team Mitch.
I was like,
with that exchange at the door.
I just was like, I just didn't think he'd be in the
show.
Yeah, like at all.
But what Mitch does to him at the door, I was like, yes. I was like, thank you. Get out of here.
Also, Mitch still got a lot of money if he's living in
Venice or whatever.
He's still fine.
What was I gonna say though? Oh yeah, I think maybe too the show's having an easier time of trying to go down that route with Mitch because of Fred, because there's almost the bigger bad guy. You know what I mean? It's okay, Mitch was just one of these people that Fred enabled.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then you find out in season 2, you're like they're like this anchor, that guy, this reporter, this weather guy. You're like, oh my god, and you realize like it's way more than Mitch. So it's like, I mean, not to say that makes what Mitch did better, but it's like you see that like Fred has been doing this and covering for people and making things go away for decades, and you're like, Jesus Christ. And then I love where it's going with the very last shot where it was what a certain person's family, the amount that they're asking for was the same amount that Fred got.
Right.
I was like, and the fact that like the person in the room is like, it's such a weird amount, and then they say it, and like just the look, just the silent acting on Billy Crudup when you just see Corey's face, because like he knows why they picked that number, because he's like, oh my god, that's exactly what the payout for Fred was, and it's like they're not gonna, because he just wanted to settle it for like a lot of money, but not that much. like oh my god, I'm really excited. And Ted Lasso, I know you're behind, but
I gotta watch it.
First of all, in terms of seasons of television, this is one of the best seasons of television I've seen in a long ass time. Because there's even episodes that don't even contribute to the story.
Like the Christmas episode.
Like the Christmas episode, and like the Coach Beard one was probably the weakest. But even that was like, okay, it was interesting. You know what I mean? But like the Christmas one didn't really contribute anything more than kind of building the relationship with Ted and Rebecca. But it was just so heartfelt and like nice. But yeah, there's some pretty heavy stuff going on, and I don't know, I just don't know, because
I'm intrigued.
There's every relationship that we know of, every character that we know of, every person's mental and emotional state that we know of. It's all up for grabs in the finale. It's all up for grabs. Everybody's up, and then the episode cut, and we don't know where anybody's gonna land. Oh. And I think. I think our main guy, Ted, is going to have to make some... He's either going to make a very bad decision and do something to himself, or he's going to lose it.
There's no way that show ends like that.
Or he's going to... I don't think the show ends. I don't think it'll be successful. But I mean, like, he's going down a really dark path, and he got some very betraying news.
Interesting. Okay.
At the end of the episode.
I gotta watch now.
And, yeah, and there's one character in particular... that I won't say, but I mean TJ and everybody who knows Ted Lasso knows what I'm talking about, that has had a very interesting arc this season, and I think it is going to come to a...
crash and burn.
I was going to say, no pun intended, a fever pitch.
Oh, nice.
There you go, because I don't know, man. If you want to talk about redeemability, I don't know where he goes from there.
See, now... We have to get off this, but I just want to say, like, that's insinuating that, because off the top of my head, he's only done like 2 or 3
not
good
down.
things.
It like triple downs.
But like what you're saying makes it sound like he's like
he does something out of nervousness that's bad, that affects 2 other people, but then the last thing that you find out involves we get our boy Trent Krim back. It's bad.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like it kind of deepens Trent and Ted's relationship, but it's like, listen, man, I got to do this because of my job, but I got to tell you, man, there's some shit going down.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's and that's all I know, because that's where we left off, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, we got to get off because I don't want to spoil anything too much, but. And those are just 2 characters. Everyone else is like Roy and Keeley, Jamie. Everybody is up in the air. We can talk about that, because that was where we're caught up.
Dude, if they backtrack,
I know.
I swear to God, I would cry.
I know.
I'd be like that. I get it. Like, oh, he's a different person now.
Yeah.
But I just don't see that.
Because I think it's like, I talked to my mother about this, because she watched it. And I was like, I think that's what Jamie thinks he needs. But I think he's going to come to the realization that, like, no, that's just what he's thinking because that's what he knows.
Right.
And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like that, with that person is where I feel like I have some power, like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And especially
And-
because he's gained the respect of everybody in that locker
Yeah,
room.
exactly.
Especially
Roy.
Yeah.
And then to kind of
They're like
throw
bros.
to kind of throw that in the dumpster just seems.
And I think even though he did that, which I guess you could view as like kind of a scuzzy move or whatever, but like he prefaced it by being like, I know you and Roy are together and that's fine. I'm happy for you and I'm friends with Roy. And so season 1, Jamie would not say anything. He would not care at all that, like all that. So it's tricky, but yeah, I really hope they don't backtrack on that. But who knows? Jamie might not be the only trouble in paradise. But yeah, really, really good.
All right, box office.
All right, yeah. So let's just talk about box office here. There we go. So we have some big shakeups in the last 2 weeks. We have some finally being kicked out of the top 5. Which is kind of crazy. So you see number 1 there, of course, is title of this episode and the biggest movie of the number 1 movie in the world right now.
Right.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Do you say Venom, Let There Be Carnage, or do you say Venom 2? Or do you say, what do you say?
I think I say Venom 2.
Okay.
I know it is Venom, Let There Be, obviously.
What's it called?
Addams Family.
Yep,
2?
Addams Family. Oh, it's just called Addams Family 2. I thought it had a subtitle. But yeah, so you got Venom, Let There Be Carnage at $90 million. These are domestic numbers, of course. The Addams Family 2 at 17.3. Shang-Chi falling down to 6.1 million. In its 5th week, though. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. It was number 1 last week.
Right. Yeah.
And to fall, that bit, to finally be deposed in your 5th week by a film in the same vein, I think is a very worthy opponent. But we will definitely talk the numbers on.
Danielle said, "Dear Evan Hansen." Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. So Shang-Chi with 6.1. Number 4, Many Saints of Newark, or as people annoyingly on at the my place of employment, I'll take 2 for the Saints of New York. So many people, like literally almost every person. Yeah. I'll take 2 for the Saints of New York.
That's a movie that I've heard it was advertised differently than what you're getting.
Yeah.
Is what I've heard. I haven't seen it. I am going to watch it. I'll probably watch it on HBO because I don't want to watch it bad enough where I'll pay for it. But I'll definitely watch it.
Have you heard, like, is it like less Soprano-y and more?
No,
just, like,
it's more like they're selling you Tony's journey as a kid, and it's less about that, and it's more about Christopher's dad's life, kind of, with Tony kind of in the background.
Yeah,
is kind of what I.
Because isn't it? I know very little about The Sopranos, but it's so Christopher Moltisanti, right? That's like one of the other main guys.
Yeah.
And the main guy in the movie is Dickie Moltisanti, right? His father.
That's his dad. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was wondering about that because I was looking at the cast list. I was like trying to see. Because I was like, should I watch the movie or should I go in the show first or whatever? Like, should I watch the show before the movie? I mean,
right, yeah.
So I was trying to see if there was any crossover character, like how many crossover characters.
There's a decent amount.
Yeah. I know Corey Stoll is playing some guy that I know he's in the
Uncle
show.
June, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the show like a lot. He's in like almost every episode.
Yes, yep.
And then there's like a couple people. Oh yeah, what's his name? Isn't his name Junior Soprano?
Yeah, Junior Soprano. Yeah.
Which is like I just think that's a funny name. But yeah. So I don't know where I'm gonna land on that. But either way, number 4 at 4.6 million. And then Dear Evan Hansen, $2.4 million. That's a 67% drop from last week. Not very good. The per theater average. That's the crazy thing.
Is that in bigs? Like big theaters? Or no?
It wasn't its first week. Now it's like, at least for our theater, it's.
Oh yeah, it came out last or two.
Yeah, this is its second. This is its second week. At least for my theater, it's in like our mid range. Like it's not in the smallest ones, but it's in like 3 and 6. Yeah, but it's not in the smallest ones. But it definitely it went down. Like, because that's the other thing like that people have to remember is when you see like I know I don't have it on screen right there, but like if you go to boxofficemojo.com and you see like the number of theaters, so like Dear Evan Hansen was in 33,000, basically 3,300 theaters this week.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't take into consideration how much the capacity is of the auditorium,
Right.
because it's like the number could have not changed, but it could have been the same number of theaters, but they put it in smaller houses. Which also can affect the box office for it, because there's 3 new movies this week. So I think that could be a factor of it. But I think on the Dear Evan Hansen front of things, it's a little more word of mouth. I think people are like,
Yeah.
it wants to be, but it isn't.
Daniel.
Oh yeah, what was the rating? What, you saw it too, right?
No, I didn't go.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was there when she went. And I was like, I knew you didn't go.
I think she's kind of
Oh, what is this?
on it.
I have so many thoughts.
So many thoughts.
Oh, well, list them out in the comments.
Yeah, if you list them in the chat, we'd let you do Discord, but I don't think we have that set up. So, unfortunately, and we're not digital, so we don't. I don't think we want the thing.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But feel free to list them off.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what jumps out to me, just looking at those numbers, is Venom 2. I'm not really surprised. The first one did about $800 million, I think, like total. And I think this one probably has a good chance to do the same. Well, sorry, I take that back. Maybe you adjust it for pandemic numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe, it definitely covers the budget. I don't know how much more money it makes after that. Shang-Chi it's good to see that it's still top 5. Second only to Venom and Addams Family, which Addams Family doesn't really surprise. Although I think Addams Family is on Paramount.
Yeah, I think it is.
So I'm actually kind of surprised it's higher. Although I don't know how many families have Paramount Plus, because it's kind of lower tier streaming service.
Wow. Sorry, so I just looked up. Venom: Let There Be Carnage in a Pandemic had a much higher opening weekend than the first film.
Interesting.
Wow, I would not have thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it opened to 90. It's really 90,033,000 really is what it is. And the first movie only opened to 80 million. Oh wow.
All right,
It's almost reached. Wow. Okay, so this is pretty crazy. Venom: Let There Be Carnage, or I'm sorry, the first Venom, in its entire domestic gross only reached 213 million. Venom: Let There Be Carnage in its domestic gross is already at half of that after like 5 days. So I think this has a very good chance of wholeheartedly beating the first movie.
Yeah.
I did not think that was possible.
States of Newark, I'm not really surprised, because that's also on HBO.
Yeah.
So I think more people probably stayed on for that. Danielle, real quick on Dear Evan Hansen, said, "It's hard to describe as I have many comparisons to the Broadway show. I myself, being a fan of the stage show, am very upset by the songs that were cut and the new songs that were added."
Oh, see, I would have thought that the songs being cut would only be a time thing, but they added new ones?
Apparently.
It's very questionable. How was the acting? How was Ben Platt? How was our main man?
She said there are new characters or different relationships. A lot of the new characters and new songs, which sort of changes the meaning of the new show. Caitlin Dever was the most redeeming thing about this film. Oh yeah, Danielle did say Amy Adams. Yeah.
Questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, or didn't really add anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I don't really know why you have Ben Platt when he's like 30 and he's supposed to be a high schooler.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that
doesn't make
it's
any
like
sense to me. Caitlin Dever looks like a high schooler.
Yeah.
I know she's like our age.
Well, yeah, she's our age, which is not 30.
But it's closer.
Yeah,
It's
which
closer
is like
to 16, 17, 18 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
isn't he supposed to be 16?
I have no idea.
Oh my god.
I knew nothing about this movie at all.
It's just I just don't understand. Like, what are you doing? Like, I think I said this on the show too. I always go back to the comparison with Lin-Manuel Miranda and In the Heights. In the stage show, he played the Anthony Ramos part, the main guy, when he was like 26. Now that Lin-Manuel Miranda's like 40, he was like, okay, well, I can't play him in the movie. Like, I'm gonna get somebody else to do it. Like, he wasn't just like, okay, I'm gonna be a 40-year-old playing somebody that's 23. Like, I think Ben Platt had to do that same thing. Cause
Yeah.
it's,
Danielle adds, I love Amy Adams, but she was not a great part of this film, which is upsetting. Ben Platt has a great voice, but has outgrown, in all caps, this role. He needed to pass the torch and accept the fate.
Well, that's the other thing, like, too. Like, do what Lynn did in The Heights. He played some
The
other
ice cream
guy. He
guy.
played the ice cream guy. Yeah, like
Or snow cone guy.
Yeah,
sorry.
like, give yourself...
Or Chris Jackson was the ice cream guy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was a snow cone
Yeah.
cart guy. But, like, give yourself a role. Make yourself the dad or something. Like, make yourself Amy Adams' husband instead of
Right.
the kid. Like, Amy Adams is 10 years older than you.
Yeah.
And you're playing
You think, like,
a friend of her high school
you
kid.
think somebody, like, you know, they're making the movie and they're, like, looking at the dailies that come back and stuff like that. They're thinking, you know, this doesn't really, you know, he just doesn't look young enough. Yeah. So maybe we should, you know,
It doesn't look right.
recast or
do something else.
You know, not to say that was going to be the saving
Yeah.
of the movie. Danielle said Ben Platt refusing to pass on this portrayal is what ruined this movie, which is a shame because it had potential. The movie was also rushed.
Yeah, I said that. I think I was talking to Danielle about that. I don't know. I think maybe she means rushed, like quickly after the stage show. Or maybe she means the pacing, which wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I even said this to Danielle, or I was talking to somebody about it. It might have been Travis. Might have been our friend Travis. But it was like this movie had potential to be like a Greatest Showman. Like it had the potential to be a solid hit. But it's like imagine if they released Sonic and never changed it.
Right.
That's what Dear Manson is.
She adds, my personal favorite Broadway to film adaptations were mainly ones in which actual Broadway actors were in it instead of movie stars. Amy Adams, Julianne Moore, Danny Pino. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I mean rush from stage to screen. That's what she meant.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah.
I'll tell you what, though.
Interesting.
This weekend, No Time to Die is going to blow all those. It's going to be number one.
I think you're wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Although, I did, when I bought my ticket last night for Saturday,
pretty grim.
For at least for the 4:15, I had picked a
Pretty
winner.
grim.
I was
yeah.
like, there's like 10 people in here, maybe.
Yeah,
like,
we were going. So I was going over with my boss, and so the prime round film. So like the
this
7
one's good
p.m.
too. I've heard this one is.
I have heard
good.
that as well. Yeah,
It's long, but it's good.
definitely. I think it's going to be the biggest opening of Bond, of Daniel Craig. But that being said, Skyfall was the previous biggest movie, but its opening was not that good. Its opening was about $70 million.
Well, Skyfall came off Quantum, which was not good.
Which is true, yeah. But Skyfall was the biggest opening though.
Right.
Like it was coming off of a shitty one, but so is this.
Mm-hmm.
This is coming off a crappy one. Don't people not like Spectre?
Spectre was okay.
Yeah, like so I think maybe there's the same thing. But I think what this does have going for it is his well and true last one. I think in the public's eye, there was a little bit of Daniel Craig's Bond fatigue around the time of Spectre because that was when the whole infamous like I'd rather cut my wrists than play this character again interview happened.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was like he was like definitely joking around. I think it was Frosty at Collider.
Oh.
But he was like, "Would you do another one of these? Because this is reportedly going to be your last one." And it was a big contract renegotiation time with Sony or MGM or whoever it is. MGM.
Yeah.
And he was like, that was the big line though, was that he was like, I think he said, I'd rather break that picture frame and slit my wrist than play this character like another movie or something.
Jesus.
And there's this video that went viral, and he knows that like that's the public perception because there was this video that went viral.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Where
he's addressing
the crew, and he says, he was like, there's a lot of word out there about how I feel about all of you and how I feel about these movies. And he was like, it's all just like a laugh or whatever. Like, he was like, I love you guys. I love making these. And like, I
believe that.
I believe that absolutely because he's such. You look at. I've been watching a lot of interviews with him. He did autocomplete interview questions about Bond. Daniel Craig break like all the Wired, GQ,
right?
All those things. Variety. So I watched all of those this week, and he's just such a dry, like, humor guy. You know what I mean? I could totally see him just making a joke about it. like one of the questions in the Variety one, I think, was like, "Can you do your best Sean Connery impression?" And he just went, "Nope," and like he just whipped the card away. He's just like, "Nope, not doing that." But then they were like, "Who's your favorite Bond?" And he was like me. Mm-hmm. And then he held it, and then he was like, "No, but like Sean Connery probably."
I know he's not in it, because obviously he was retired. But I would love if he somehow was in the movie for like 5 seconds. Sean Connery. I don't think he is, obviously.
Yeah, because they definitely filmed it.
They filmed it before he passed away.
Yeah. Way.
What?
I forgot, bro. That's crazy.
But yeah, so I think it'll be very good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'll tell you what movie you probably won't see in the top 5 is Lamb. I don't think that'll be in the top 5.
No. We don't even know if we're getting it.
I'm assuming you're not.
Yeah.
I know Downtown is.
Because we got Green Knight and
that probably did nothing.
Yeah, it was terrible. So yeah, I really don't know. But the funny thing is, so the company that I work for is starting to like do all these open caption showtimes, which means like captions on the screen. Yeah.
Oh, actually, wait. Are they like
you're thinking of the
special needs.
You're thinking of the accessible one.
Accessible streaming.
No, this is just regular showtimes and stuff.
Okay.
One per round of the movie would be open captions. Yeah, so captions on the screen. Lamb is for some reason one of them, which is a movie that already has subtitles. Yeah. So I was talking to my boss and I was like, do they know that like the movie is in Icelandic? Like it's spoken in a different language. It already has like crafted subtitles into the movie. I was like, is it just gonna be on top of the other words? Like it's gonna be so stupid. I don't know. Like, but apparently they're doing open caption for No Time to Die too, which is like, it's like nobody's gonna buy that. That's true. But yeah. I'll say too about Bond before we move on. I highly recommend. I'm a big fan of them, and a big influence on the show too is Mr. Sunday Movies. They did they have the show Caravan of Garbage where they just kind of break down a franchise or a movie or whatever, and they did all of Daniel Craig's Bonds leading up to it. So there's like a 30-minute video on each of them where they just kind of break down like some of the history, like interesting stuff, and like make jokes about it and stuff. But they're all really, really good. And it's also kind of like a cram it type thing where it's like it also lets you know what happened in the movie as well.
Right.
But yeah, those are really, really good. So if you don't feel like you have the time to watch all of Craig's Bonds, which I think I'm going to do. Where are we at with streaming? Do you know where they are?
They always, they I feel like.
Oh, is it Amazon? Because Amazon owns it.
It should be Amazon. I know they flux sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, because like, the Harry Potter thing.
If you ever need to, I have all of them.
Oh,
so
yeah.
If you need to borrow them, you
can. But yeah. And then just the last thing I'll say about the box office, 2 juggernauts in the top 5 finally fell, which was Free Guy.
Great movie.
Finally took a dip. And when I'm saying finally took a dip, I don't know how.
I'll say I probably laughed more watching this.
Oh, yeah, you finally.
For the first
time.
time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, yeah. Is that what you and I went to see?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I was talking to somebody and I was talking to one of the other managers at my job and I was like, I came to see a movie with TJ, but I can't for the life of me remember what it was. I was like, it wasn't. It wasn't Shang-Chi. I was like, because I've only seen Shang-Chi twice, but that's right. It was Free Guy. Oh, Free Guy's so good though.
It's very good.
It's really good. Yeah. I'm glad you said Danielle liked it, right? Yeah, I'm glad she liked it. But yeah, finally falling. But still, when it finally fell, only like a 45% drop, which normally a movie in its second week will fall 70 or 60%. This is a 45 drop in week 8. It's made $117 million domestically, and it's made about $300 million internationally, worldwide, which is crazy.
Wow.
And then also Jungle Cruise finally falling out of the top 5, but still in the top 10, with 116 million worldwide, which is like crazy. And then Cry Macho is kind of had the biggest drop. That dropped 80%. That went from number 5 to number 12.
Was also on HBO Max. I'm not sure if
Yes,
it's
yeah.
still
Which
on
I
there.
think a lot of the. I mean, you gotta look. I mean, we've talked about it. Venom.
See, now this is
Shang-Chi,
not
Free
boding
Guy.
well for Dune.
Exactly.
This
yeah.
this is kind of scaring me.
Mhm.
I don't know how good of a movie Cry Macho is, nor do I know. What the Roku keeps thinking we're talking to it, and we're not. Cry Module is in line. But I'm not sure how good that is, or Many States of Newark. But this is almost like the writing's on the wall almost already, or it's like Dune not going to do very well. I mean, I know it's not niche, but like I don't think a lot of people know what that is. Like, it's not a mainstream thing. Basically, is my point.
Yeah.
So that has going against it, and then
it's
the
the
HBO
previous
Max
movie
thing,
going
and the
against
previous,
it.
and Dune. I don't know when that was made.
David Lynch.
90 something, I think. Which I still have to watch it. But yeah, it's kind of making me nervous.
Oh, speaking of, did you see that video I sent you of Kyle MacLachlan? Getting ripped at the gym. I was like, what is he getting ready for? I was gonna say put him in the MCU, but he's already in the MCU. Let's see. But you could bring him back. He played Jekyll and Hyde on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that. I guess we could talk about that for a little bit because we're only at like an hour 10. We could talk about that a little bit before we go to Venom. Okay. There's like a lot of rumors, like strong rumors of the Echo Disney Plus series, which is going to be the spinoff of the Hawkeye series. There's basically
it's an announced thing.
I don't think it's an announced thing
okay.
yet.
It's just a rumor.
But they're like fast tracking it.
Interesting. Okay.
Like they're slotting it in.
Because I don't know what that means. I don't know what Echo is.
Echo is the one shot in the Hawkeye trailer of like the girl in like the red lighting. That's the villain.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the villains. One of like the main villains.
And then you have the what is it called? The
tracksuit mafia.
Tracksuit mafia.
All of which are probably working for Wilson Fisk.
Right.
Which leads me to what the rumor is, which is that the Echo series will basically be kind of like a Daredevil season 3.5.
Interesting.
That it'll be like Foggy Nelson will be back, Karen Page, and of course Matt Murdock. Like not everybody. Like it won't be a Daredevil season, but it will be a show heavily about Matt Murdock and Echo.
Interesting.
Which I think is interesting. And then there was a rumor just today, which I think came from Discussing Film, that was that John Bernthal is set to make his return in the MCU as Frank Castle as the Punisher. They said in an upcoming film, so that's kind of interesting. I mean, obviously, that's not to say just because there's a rumor that Daredevil is going to be in the first season of Echo. They don't have just because they were the Netflix characters. They're not relegated to TV. Like they could be in a movie. Like just like anybody from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could be in a movie. That kind of thing. I mean, hell, what's his name? Jarvis from Agent Carter was in Endgame, which is like crazy. But yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Are you excited? Do you want them to draw back from the Netflix?
I mean, I have no
shows?
connection to them, so
I mean, but would you like to see it?
Yeah,
or would you want a fresh slate?
No, I'd be fine with it. I mean, it would give me a reason. I know you say I should go back and watch the shows, but it would give me more of a reason to go and do that.
Yeah, really.
If they're gonna make it all canon, they might as well just.
I think you could really, honestly, if you just watched all 3 seasons of Daredevil, I think that's probably all they're gonna bring in. Because is
that probably the best out of all of the other shows?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and also Daredevil season 2 is basically like Punisher season 0. Like Daredevil season 2 is all about him and Frank Castle, and how they're different and what their issues are with each other and building up Frank's story and stuff. So even if you don't watch the Punisher, because far and away in terms of character and portrayal and stuff, the 2 fan favorite was definitely John Bernthal as Frank
Punisher.
Castle.
I was interested in, but I never.
Yeah, it was definitely John Bernthal as Frank Castle and Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, because they were just.
Everybody has that rumor that he's in the Far From Home or No Way Home trailer. But
well, that was debunked with the IMAX ratio
because
they showed it. But I still think there's a possibility he's in the movie. I just don't know in what capacity.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, the original rumor going back 2 years now was that Matt Murdock would be his lawyer. The guy that people thought was him, like slamming the paperwork down, that seemed more like a person, like either prosecuting him or like a detective, not like his lawyer. I don't know why his lawyer would be like slamming a thing of files, like, what did you do? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why his lawyer would be doing that. So I think it could make more sense if he's his lawyer. But yeah, like, do I think he's gonna suit up as Daredevil in the third act? No. I don't think so. Do I think that that he will suit up as Daredevil again at some point? Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And people out there are like, because there was a pretty public auction once all the Netflix stuff ended, they auctioned off everything. Like, they auctioned off set pieces, they auctioned off all the costumes and stuff. So they're all in private collections or museums and stuff. And people were like, they're done. They auctioned off everything. They don't even have any of it. I'm like, do you know how many costumes an MCU movie will make for one character? You really, like, just because Netflix only had, I think they had 2 Daredevil suits. One was like the hero version, and one like for close-ups and stuff, and the other one was like the stunt one. It's like, yeah, that's because it was a TV show. Like, if he's coming back to the MCU or on Disney Plus, I think they're gonna be okay to recreate it. I think somebody at Marvel probably has a couple pictures of what the suit looked like. But I saw one person on TikTok that was like, here's why they're not gonna be back, and this is why, and I'll tell you. And it's like, you don't. I can't go on a Marvel TikTok thing again. But then you sent me one that was, oh no, yours was DC fandom.
For Nolan, yeah.
Yeah, for Nolan. And it's like, some of these freaking things, it's just for the clicks and stuff.
And if you look at the comments, it's like, no, he's not going back to Warner Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's
not a thing.
Yeah. All right, do you want to talk a little, Let There Be Carnage?
Let's talk some Let There Be Carnage.
There's going to be carnage.
So do you want to start with your thoughts, or do you want me to go
my
first?
thoughts are, Eddie. Listen. I love Woody Harrelson. I love Woody Harrelson just as much as the next guy. We got
a lot of Venomized characters.
That too. But I was looking for. He should be like, I don't know why. I can never find the Funko Pop I want when I want to. I have. Oh, there they are. They're on that side. I don't think you guys can see them, but I have like 3 different Tobias Beckett Funko Pops for Star Wars, just because I liked Woody Harrelson so much in that movie.
Oh, right.
Which is a movie I didn't even like that much, but I have all 3 that they made. Just because I'm a huge fan of Woody Harrelson. I love the Zombieland movies and stuff. This was terrible. I'm sorry. Like, I just not the movie, because I will say this. I like TJ knew my initial rating on TikTok, and I think I rated it too soon. But I have not told him my newer rating. The movie is it's a good movie. Like, it's not a bad movie. It's so rushed. It's so rushed. The second act of the film is like maybe 5 sentences long. It's like set up, church, hour-long third act. It's like, no, not even really. It's like an hour of setup, and then like just a half-hour third act. And I struggle to find the second act in there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really just hero, and I think this is in the trailer, so it's like we're not in this full spoiler section yet, but it's just like the classic, hero makes a decision or something happens. Hero loses power. It loses his powers for, a good amount, and then realizes, he really needs them to be the person that, he needs to be, that kind of stuff. There was a lot of that in this movie. I guess you could call that the second act, but it felt like this movie needed to be like 2 hours. And not every movie needs to be 2 hours. Some movies can be an hour and a half. I don't think this movie was one of them. I think they were trying to do too much, and I think they had more, and they cut out so much, and they were like, you know what, but it still works. But I don't think it works. I think it's missing something. Like, it's so like...
And I thought the first one suffered from the same problem, where it was kind of... And the first one's longer.
Yeah.
where it's just kind of like,
And
we're fighting.
And
It's
again,
like,
I think that's a studio thing.
when did that
where
happen?
it's like, people were like, the first one dragged.
Did
We got to cut it. And it's like, no, you can have a 2-hour movie. It just has to be paced properly.
Right,
You just have to pace it correctly. And like another thing too, again, like I guess this is a mild spoiler, but we're about to get into full spoilers in a minute. So, like Venom doesn't even meet Carnage until the end of the movie.
Right.
Like Venom doesn't even know what Carnage is until the last fight of the movie. They don't even cross paths. Like Venom doesn't even know what's going on.
Right.
Which I mean, neither does Eddie really. Like I feel like there could have been so much there. I think they definitely should have fought, more than just the once in the movie, because it's like, which again, like you said, that was kind of the same thing as the first movie. Mm-hmm. It was like the hero and the villain were kind of separate the whole time, and then they finally meet each other and then they fight and then it's over. Mm-hmm. And this was kind of that again, and it was just like it felt like I had no connection between these two guys besides Cletus being like, you're like family to me, Eddie, like that and that, like all that stuff. And it's like I feel like you could have done something way more interesting, like maybe, I mean, you'd have to go back to the first movie to do this, or maybe you could just retcon it with like a flashback scene or something. Mm-hmm. But maybe you could do something that like maybe Cletus bites Eddie in that post-credit scene, so it's like Carnage has been gestating in him for all this time. That would help explain his obsession with Eddie and stuff. And then the lethal injection is what finally brings it out. Instead of it being like, oh, the day before Carnage got into him and then all of a sudden it sprung out. You know what I mean? It just felt so rushed.
So what are your stars?
So I originally gave it a 2.5 out of 5. I'll go to 3. Okay. I'll say it was fresh enough. The second time I watched it, I definitely enjoyed it more, and I feel like I didn't want because the other thing that we have to talk about, which obviously will be in spoilers, is the massive post-credit scene. I didn't want the post-credit scene to color my judgment, so I gave it a 2.5, but I was like, no, but the post-credit scene is part of it. Like, it's got to be included in it, because I'll say this. I give it a 3 out of 5, but I will say it's the same thing that happened after the first movie. I'm giving it a poorer score, but I'm so excited to see where it goes next. Because it's like, I think now, I mean, I've been touting this since the first movie, which is what happens in the post-credit scene. I was like, if they just do that, just get him in the hands of some better writers and producers and stuff. You know
Which
what I mean?
honestly is up for debate.
Well, that's why, and we'll talk about it. Because it's like, who is
taking the reins, honestly.
And this is the first time we have seen a scene like that not made by a certain person.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure that certain person's not very happy about it, but we'll talk about it.
Well, it's not like he doesn't know about it.
No, exactly. Yeah, I mean, because there's rumors.
But I mean, it might be honestly.
What was the rumor?
I thought I had heard things that people were like, "Oh, Kevin Feige's probably so mad."
There was like a rumor that he was secretly helping out with things.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Was it the Venom?
I think it was Venom.
It was like Venom and Spider-Verse.
I think I do know what you're talking about. That's what it was.
He's got like a ghost producing credit,
something like that,
on Spider-Verse, and I think like a even more deep background like on the first Venom. Because he probably knew, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. We find out about these things so much further. But then Andy Serkis was like, it was pretty touch and go until the last minute with that post-credit scene. So I was like, maybe there was a chance that it didn't happen.
Right.
I don't know. But what are your thoughts?
All right. So I like this. So I thought the first one was not very good. Mm-hmm. I thought the second one,
Did you like it more?
I like it about a sliver more, and I think it has to do with I have more, maybe not even background knowledge. I think Carnage intrigues me more than Riot did.
Considering I had no idea who Riot was.
Riot was like just one of the like random generic ones.
Right, and I thought this one was a bit funnier. I thought their banter back and forth worked better than it did in the first one.
Another thing that I think you're talking about too, that's way better in this. Andy Serkis pointed out, and he did notes on like GQ notes on a film, on a scene with the director. I forgot this. Venom had 4 lines of dialogue in the first film.
Really?
He had 4 lines.
Wow.
He said, "Oh yeah." He said something like, "No, Eddie, we cannot," or something like that. And then like that big speech that he gave when he was like sitting on like the buoy or whatever, like where he didn't want to fight.
Yeah.
And then I think a line at the end, and that was all he. And then like, "We are Venom," and that was all he said in this one. And that's, I think, that's another big reason I'll give it a 3. I really like Venom as a character. I think he's funny. He's written well. I think you're right. The jokes with him are really good in this. And he's an actual character. For part of the movie, he's completely separate.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I like that.
It didn't make me like it enough to be like, oh, I like this movie. I still don't really like the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't plan on watching it again unless, it's part of the whole, if I have to or whatever. But yeah, Woody Harrelson I thought was I don't even know how to describe it. Like I most of it, some of it didn't make sense. Like
I was okay. So this is a symbiote question I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
I was always under the impression that Carnage was its own symbiote,
No.
like Riot.
Oh,
What? Breaking news?
not breaking news, but kind of a breaking editorial. Business battles of the Bobs. Former Disney CEO shares some sage advice with successor. Apparently, it was just
Well, he's fucked up like twice already. So
yeah, there's like apparently some dish between Iger and.
Well, you called Shang-Chi an experiment, even though you probably didn't mean it was an experiment, and then you basically had the PR team just like slander ScarJo.
I meant the abomination. I meant it was an abomination. It was a what? What did you say? No, the abomination was an experiment. Oh God.
I thought Woody Harrelson. Oh yeah, so sorry. So Carnage, son of Venom in the comics, everything not its own. Okay, I was always under the impression.
I mean, it's same thing with 1,000 characters. There's different origins, but the main one is there's a prison. So Cletus and Eddie are prison mates. They're cellmates right next to each other.
Oh, okay.
After Eddie gets disgraced, or I think he gets like arrested for either evidence tampering or something like that. So he gets arrested, and they're cellmates. And when Eddie breaks out with Venom, a part of Venom gets like snagged on the wall as he's leaving, and then Cletus, takes it. So it's kind of the same thing.
Not really sure. I could have used more Michelle Williams. There's a point where I think she's in the beginning when they go out, they're eating a dinner.
Yeah.
And then she's gone for like 45 minutes, it feels like.
And that's the first time that she's in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of
they have a phone call.
Yeah, there was
at like the beginning.
But before she showed up again, I was like, is she coming back?
Yeah.
I was like, where the fuck is
exactly,
she? I thought,
what do you think of Shriek?
I know nothing about her. They didn't really get into, unless I'm mistaken, I remember it correctly. They didn't get into anything like how she got her power. I thought in the beginning, I thought she died. I didn't actually realize that he shot her in the eye.
Yeah.
I thought she actually.
Which, like, how is her eye still intact? It's
Also,
just a different
speaking
color.
of shooting her in the eye, you saw that. Did I send you that tweet?
What?
Somebody tweeted, I thought this guy was in Venom 2, and it was a picture of in Saw.
Yeah,
and I was like,
I told you, I was like, go back to the first trailer reaction. I was like, I literally said Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah,
I was like,
and
is
me
that
and
him?
Danielle were sitting there. I was like, is that Donnie? I was like, that
just
looks
like
like I'm
him.
like, I just saw him in 5 Saw movies.
Yeah.
So I feel like that looks really like him, but it wasn't him.
I'll say this, I thought. I was like, okay, like the character of Mulligan, the cop, like the main cop. I was like, okay, he's good. There's definitely been worse, like, cop or detective characters in movies and in superhero movies specifically.
And we'll get to him. For him, his little ending thing made no sense to me because I don't understand how it happened.
I'm really hoping that it
doesn't
nothing
come
comes
to
of
fruition.
It. Yeah, I really think it won't, but we'll get there.
I didn't really. I got like, Cletus's and Shriek's like relationship, but I needed more from the Shriek character. Like I didn't know how she got her powers. Like why she has the powers. Like
that's interesting because in the post Fox world, they say in the movie that she had a mutation.
Okay.
Which
what?
no, just the word mutation, like mutant and mutation were persona non grata. You couldn't even say that somebody had a mutation or that something mutated. You couldn't use any variation of that word, and they used it in this movie, which is like, and in the comics, I think she is a mutant. like an X-Men type mutant.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's just what it was. Because I mean, clearly she's had them since adolescence, because she had it when they were kids.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think it was like an experiment or anything like that.
I did find the whole Venom like what do you want to call it, detective thing kind of odd, like him like figuring out like when they're walking past the.
Well, I think that was to like do like the super intelligence thing, which I like that. I don't know. I was like, I liked it because I was like, and then when he puts the tape recorder down and he's like, you don't need that. I have a whatever he said, like a phonographic memory or something like that. Whatever he said, he's like, I remember everything, and then he puts it down anyways, and he just goes, rude.
It's just things that like there's a few things in this movie that make absolutely no sense. There's one huge thing when I was watching it, I was like, what?
Well, let's get into it. What was, all right.
I gave it 2.
Overall thought.
I gave it 2 stars.
Really?
I gave Venom 1 also 2 stars.
Wow.
This one, like, sliver.
You give it like a 2.1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I liked it just a tad more because I think it's funnier.
Yeah.
And I like Carnage. I
but
like
still
the
a
character
bad
of Carnage.
movie.
But still bad. Yeah, still not a good movie.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
we're in full
spoilers. So the first thing that did not make sense to me was when
hit me with it.
Eddie is talking to Cletus in the cell,
and Venom whips him around, and the cop is like, apparently he's
Yeah.
sitting right there. So I don't know how he missed that.
Yeah. Or why Cletus didn't say anything.
Why Cletus didn't?
Yeah.
I mean,
he does say
that's not human blood. I've tasted it before.
Eddie Brock has a big secret, and it's like, and they're like, "Shut up, Cassidy!" Like that's all they say. That's all they say about it.
Oh my god!
Wouldn't you be like, "Hey, a giant sludge tentacle just came out of this guy and attacked me and whipped me around my cell. You want to maybe look into that?" Like what?
And then the other most preposterous thing was going to the gas station, taking the laptop, and accessing the police files from a gas station laptop with Carnage's
Does
like
this thing got internet?
Ethernet like
Yeah.
shape-shifting tentacle.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. The only thing that I can think about that is that they were trying to go with like the super intelligence thing, but that doesn't really make that much sense.
That doesn't mean he has the intelligence to hack into a police
database. No, I mean he might have the intelligence to hack, but that laptop wouldn't be able to connect to the police database. Like it'd be one thing if maybe he snuck into like the precinct. Or like stole, or like broke into a cop car and used one of their computers.
Oh, that would have been better.
Because every cop car has a laptop, right?
That would have made more sense.
Yeah, it's just like, and
yeah.
the way that how does he know that there's a laptop there? Like I thought that exact thing. I was like,
and the way 10th gas station he's going to.
The way he's like the way that like I will say there's some cool shots. Like the direction in this was good.
Like the prison kind of breakout scene when he's that was killing all those people. That was a good sequence. That I like that. Like the tornado type
and then
thing.
even with like the warden and stuff, like it was a little over the top, but like the like any last words, warden, like and then like the Johnny Cash thing as he's walking away or whatever, but like the hair too.
The hair sucked, even without the wig. Is regular. I mean,
God.
it's still a wig, actually, right?
Yeah,
it still sucked. Yeah,
but it's like, why would you go for that? It's like
just give him his right. I get it. You want to be comic book accurate, but it's like
that's like too comic book accurate. That's like if they did to Norman Osborn and gave him like the cornrows.
He have fades or like
something like. But that's like the famous thing is that Norman Osborn's hair is just like a brown
like
background.
It's waved
with like black lines just like transposed on it. Like it just looks so stupid. It's like it would be like if they did that in live action.
Who do we know? Does actually one person I wanted to shout out was the kid who plays Cletus in the beginning.
Yeah,
I told Danielle, I was like, oh, I think that's Woody Harrelson voicing, and she said that he's the kid's playing like Woody Harrelson's voice. Because it doesn't say like young Cletus like in the what I mean. So I'm just assuming that that's the kid. I was like, if that is the kid, that's great impression.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But then again, I could be wrong. But what'd you think about the fight? Was it
like the final fight?
Yeah, like in the church. Like I thought like. Sorry, real quick. Yeah. Quick funny thing that I thought was the when he's like time to die, father. And the pastor's like, no. He's like,
Yeah.
not that you, that father.
Not you, father.
I
You, father.
I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
funny. Also, real quick, Spider-Man 3 homage
Oh, with the
bell
tower
and
stuff?
I was
well,
like,
I mean, that's Venom from the comics. Is the
oh,
bell
it is?
tower? Yeah,
Okay,
that's where Eddie gets it. Is,
oh, okay.
The
I thought it
Spider-Man
was just
3,
Raimi's movie. I didn't know.
No, the like the whole thing of like why the symbiote's on Earth. There's no explanation in Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't
it
remember
just,
there
it just
being-
lands.
Yeah.
It just lands on Earth. But in terms of Eddie's thing, like Peter's thing with the symbiote, totally different.
Mhm.
But Eddie's thing, it is it is literally the exact same thing in the comics. It is he is he's a reporter, not a photographer, but he gets in trouble with it. He goes to a church and he prays for Peter Parker to be killed, and then up in the bell tower, Peter is ripping the symbiote off of him, and it falls down onto Eddie. That is
Right.
exactly what
Yeah.
happens in the
Oh,
comic.
okay.
Like literally
Yeah.
exactly.
Brock back on top. You like that? I didn't know he was such a vouted, esteemed kind of journalist that did stuff online
yeah,
before,
yeah.
and then he broke the
Well,
Cletus Cassidy thing. He's like, "Oh, Brock back on top." It's like, what?
like they even did what's it called? Like there was that line where he's like, "I had a successful TV show." Like they did show that in the first movie, but it was like one shot.
Yeah,
It was
wasn't-
like the Eddie Brock Files or something. And it was just like his like one man show kind of like it was kind of like Nightcrawler, which is ironic because what's his name? Oh my god! Bodhi Rook, Nightcrawler. Why Riz
Sound-
Ahmed?
yeah, Riz Ahmed,
Riz Sound of
fucking
Metal,
hell.
yeah. Which I think Riz Ahmed was okay. Like I think it was good. It was just Riot was just
It-
bad.
yeah.
And
I mean,
like
the movie wasn't that good.
yeah, and like like the writing in this was better.
Yes, I would
It's
agree
funny
with that.
because it's like the writing in this was better, the direction in this was better, the characters in this were better, but it's like it's almost the same level of good movie. Like that's why I feel like it was kind of is the editing. I think it was really the editing and some of the choices that really.
There's no lobster tank this time.
But they do mention it. They do.
They
mention
do,
it.
yes,
He
yes.
says that bizarre incident with the lobster tank.
Yeah, I thought Michelle, what's her name again? Michelle Williams' character. Anne. I thought that.
Anne and Dan.
Yeah, Anne. Dan Dick in this movie.
Dr. Dan.
Kind of.
But a little bit redeemed. But ultimately, it's like Venom says at the end.
That was
you know,
I kind of did like that little like kind of falls down to her, grabs Dan.
Yeah,
off, and
yeah,
Dan
that was
kinda-
cool.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And
Dan has a little bit of a thing where Dan's the one that shouts out. When Venom's pinned down, Dan's the one that shouts out. He's like, look at them, they're not symbiotic.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
Eddie's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, look at that.
yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
look, he's like, they don't have what we have, and then he goes, that's when he's like,
Yeah.
we are the lethal protector, which I love that they worked that in, because that's
Yeah.
his name in the comics.
Oh,
He's
okay.
like, he's like Venom, like that's his Dark Knight. Like Venom is the lethal protector.
Right.
But like, and I thought it was a little on the nose, but like I liked when Eddie was like, that's so 80s, because it's like that's where it's from. But I think it works, and I think
Yeah.
I don't know.
The other thing I thought was interesting was when they're getting dinner together.
Yeah.
And she tells him that she's
Engaged. Yeah.
They're like she wants him to be mad, but like happy at the same time. Like it didn't really make any sense.
She like wanted him to be like she wanted him to be like, oh my god, like I lost out on this, but I'm happy for you, but it's okay. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Like she almost wanted him to like forgive her for getting engaged, and it's like he's in love with you. Like he doesn't care. Like what do you mean? And I love how he's like, because it's once he's like, is there dinner? It's like once he's rich again, right? Which like
yes,
buddy,
I think
if
it's
you're
after.
rich,
It's afterwards.
If you're rich, when like you get that whole sequence where he's like fixing up the apartment and stuff, I'm like, why are you fixing up the apartment? Just buy a new one.
Yeah.
You live in San Francisco, like buy a house.
Did you like that animation when Venom's forcing Eddie to draw like the location? He's like,
oh yeah, it was
like
fair.
this.
Yeah,
It's
that
fucking
was
stupid.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about so the cop, I forget his name. What's his
Mulligan.
name? Mulligan. Okay.
P.
so,
Mulligan. Whatever.
P. Mulligan. So we
whatever
had the
P
whole
stands
thing
for.
where he's like, "Oh, I shot Shriek in the eye.
Yeah.
Which, again, I thought she was dead in the beginning. Like, I just thought
So did Mulligan.
apparently. Which I'm not sure how he didn't know that.
Well, it was a secret.
Okay.
Remember, he ended up in the hospital because of his ear.
Right.
And
so
then
just
they
told
hauled
her
her
okay.
off. Because the
Gotcha.
whole which, by the way, Ravencroft from the comics, but also second live action debut. Last time it was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. That was where they were like doing all the tests on Electro. That was where like Electro became Electro.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and the guy doctor in that was a gender bent character in the comics who was the gray haired lady in this. It was the same character.
Oh.
I forget the character's name, but it's like doctor whatever.
So first thing with him I want to talk about is, so he in the comics is Toxin. That's the symbiote that he has, correct?
Yes. Yep.
So
which is Carnage's son. So Venom's
okay.
grandson.
So, but when would he have got? Because it seems like he was fighting with Shriek, and Shriek hung him basically by a chain off the side of a church tower.
Yeah.
And then it shows that he has this symbiote. But where did it come from? He didn't
That's a
get
good question.
dropped on him or anything, I don't think.
The only thing that I can think of is like Carnage was like messing around with his tendrils with him, so maybe he like.
I mean, well, the only reason now I think about it, Venom ate Carnage.
Yeah.
He ate the symbiote, so I don't know where he got the toxin one from.
Yeah. Because the only other thing that I can think of that happened with him was like Shriek like tried to like push his eyes in.
Right. Yeah.
Remember? So like maybe it had something to do with that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just like some of it fell off when they all kind of exploded after the bell tower.
I just thought it was kind of like, I saw that, I was like, well, where did the
it didn't really
symbiote
make
come
sense.
from? Like,
But again, we'll talk about very shortly.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't matter.
Did you laugh when the whole like I just wanted that made no sense. I just wanted a friend.
Oh,
like,
I only ever
what?
wanted your friendship.
Yeah, what are you
You're
talking about?
You're a serial killer.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
And then he go. I did like where the fuck this guy.
Oh
and he
my
fucking ate his
god!
head. He bit his head off.
I did laugh out loud.
I did think that was very funny.
Because Eddie was just like so like somber. He was like, "You're a maniac." Sorry, Cletus. And then Venom's head came back, and he just went, "Fuck this guy," and just ate him.
That was
like,
funny.
oh my god! And Travis, our friend Travis, who I work with, I was like. I was saying, like, I was going around work going, oh, yeah! Like, he was like, why are you making, like, the Kool-Aid Man
Speaking
noise?
of I thought the rave scene was funny with Venom as
yeah,
well.
and that was what's her name? The one that did the Venom song, like, Venom.
Yeah?
Like, the one that went viral on TikTok. That was her. They put her in the movie, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, that is so cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's the song that she's singing in the scene. She's singing Venom. That's why he gets up on stage. I only caught that on the second thing because I was like, why does he just like see? Because he like registers her, like listens for a second, and then just like approaches the stage. And I was like, why is he doing that? She's singing Venom. Like she keeps saying his name, so I think he thinks that he was like being called up on stage.
Right.
But I liked that whole thing. Like I said, like I
thought the rave thing was funny.
I got to like both Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock and. Well, I get Tom Hardy's Venom because he
voices Venom.
He plays both characters. Yeah. Although one thing that I was like, I guess whatever because like there's no face, but like it's or maybe it's just a Sony thing. Like it's not motion capture. Venom's a totally CG character.
Oh really?
Yeah. Andy. I said Andy Samberg. That would be a very different
Andy
movie.
Serkis,
yeah, Andy Serkis. He was like it's not facial capture, it's not motion capture, it's not any of that. It's a totally digital.
Does Woody Harrelson do Carnage, or no?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just his voice is way more
Probably
modulated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I don't even think Tom Hardy's voice is modulated. Like I think it's like maybe deepened, but like all the like almost like gargling sounds and stuff like that like go along with Venom's dialogue. Apparently he does all that, which is like cool.
Sounds like it would hurt your throat after a while.
Oh yeah. Oh, who we got here? There seems to be an echo with the mics, guys. Like someone is being picked up and each other. Well, yeah, that's probably just due to location.
Yeah, it's because we're so freaking close.
Yeah, we'll work on the audio for next week, but it's pretty okay. But yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about the?
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about the end credit scene.
Yeah, I would say okay. So people are saying that this is the biggest end credit scene of all time. I think maybe it's the most like surprising, I think.
Right.
Although maybe not in a year from now, because I think this is just a taste of what we're fully gonna get.
So, after I watched the post-credit scene, and like because I didn't watch it.
Well, say what it is.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they're like chilling in like a hotel room or whatever. Tom Hardy and Venom, and says something about like, oh, you want to see what my planet looks like?
She said continuity error of Venom's voice between the first and second movie. All right, keep talking. Let us know what you mean by that.
He's like, oh, you want to see what my planet's like or whatever? And he's like, sure. And then he like does something, and then you just see the, you know, and it's like, whoa. And then the TV turns on, and you see Spider-Man, and J.K. Simmons is like, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, blah, blah, blah. And then Tom Hardy turns into Venom, and Venom says, oh, he looks tasty. And he looks at the TV screen. And then this guy comes out and goes, what are you doing in my hotel room? And that's how it ends.
Yeah. That's the one.
So when I saw this, I said, okay, we're either doing two things. We're either bringing Venom to MCU, or this is our deploy to say, okay, your contract's almost up. We're taking this character back, and we're going to make our own thing. And I don't know which one it is.
What are you leaning towards? Because I definitely leaning towards one thing.
I think I'm leaning towards, considering that it fell apart and then they made a new contract together, and considering the success of Venom, like the movies.
Yeah.
We'll see how much Venom 2 does, but again, Venom 1, $800 million.
Yeah.
And Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse, very good.
Spider-Verse nominated for Oscars
too. Yeah. So I'm leaning towards them taking the character back, but I could see it where they're like, hey,
doors always open.
You know, like if you want to take this character and maybe do a team up movie, we'll produce it or something, and then we'll take 25%, 50, whatever.
Yeah.
And of the box office or something. I don't know.
But almost on like a film to film basis.
Right. Like I don't think, because I think how many more Tom Holland movies? How many more does he have?
He's got No Way Home and then one other
group
movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Or other movie.
Which, yeah, because it's interesting to see what they're doing. Again, if everybody's in No Way Home, like it's interesting to see what happens. If we get, I would not be surprised if we get a Venom cameo in No Way Home. Here's my thing. Like, I was always under the impression, like, actually, you could probably tell me. So Venom and Spider-Man are usually enemies, but when it suits them against a common person, they are together. Correct?
Yeah, it's they definitely at a time where
like I know there's like there's the Carnage comic books where it's like Venom, Spider-Man versus
Carnage.
Like
Maximum Carnage, which is like a big influence on this from this movie, and like that's like the biggest.
That's the thing
Carnage
we didn't even
thing.
mention. How many times you say "Let there be carnage"
or Carnage in general, or like
Carnage.
why won't you let there be carnage? Like he says that too, or just the word carnage. Like it's probably said like 10 different times. Oh, speaking of somebody, so I think it's like called MCU Facts or something on Instagram. Said, what do you think the most said word by Steve Rogers in the MCU is?
Justice.
No.
No, wait.
It's a character's name. I'll say that. Steve Rogers' most said word.
It's a character's name?
Yeah.
Bucky.
That's what I thought. His most
Tony.
said word is Tony. That's the word that like in terms of the final cut and stuff, like deleted scenes aside, that is the word that he says the most amount of times throughout the whole movies.
Okay, so real quick, going back to the Venom.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking what you could have done, which I think would have been really cool, instead of doing the whole toxin thing, you could have just had Carnage survive some way somehow.
Yeah.
And then you bring Spider-Man in and you do something like a Maximum Carnage, you know? You do something like that. I'm guessing Carnage is that other host, not just Cletus Cassidy. So if you want to kill Cletus Cassidy, go ahead. You just get somebody else to do it.
And it's always possible, like Venom could spawn Carnage again.
Yeah. Which see that would be something I would not. I wouldn't want it to just be like, oh, let's keep, you know.
Yeah.
I get it. Like I get it. Okay. Like, I mean, you could also do that with like Toxin, like you want to do.
Yeah.
Again, I don't. To me, like Carnage is like the. To me, he was always the worst out of anything, because he's just killing. Like he's not like like Venom's an anti-hero, right? Like he's killing people, but he's he's not a villain. But Carnage is murdering people gruesomely for no like.
And Venom, even in the comics, like when he was introduced as a hero, he was such a fan favorite. He very quickly became a good guy. Like he was like within a couple years, there was like he had his own solo issues and stuff like. That's kind of what you were saying. Like, that's why Carnage was introduced, because Carnage was introduced to be like, okay, this is Venom, but with no moral compass, nothing, just murdering everything, that kind of thing.
Real quick, sorry, Danielle said, in the first movie when Venom is in Michelle Williams' She-Venom, the Venom voice is feminine. When she does it in the second film, it's Tom Hardy's Venom voice. Venom's voice changed depending on who it was hosted by in the first movie. I think I do recall that actually happening.
Yeah, I think I thought about that. I think I thought about that subconsciously because I didn't remember that. But when he was in Mrs. Chen, I was like, wait, why does he just sound like regular? But I think maybe that was just because they did like that's Venom's voice. Like I think it probably was just a retcon because I think it was like that's Venom's voice apart from Eddie. That's not like Eddie. Like it's Tom Hardy doing it in real life, but like it's not Eddie's voice. Through Venom, it's like that's what Venom the character sounds like, that kind of thing.
Okay, before I ask your thoughts on which way it's leaning, everything, can you give me a small sliver, if you have any, a background on Toxin? Is he toxic? I really
don't have any.
Oh,
he's just another symbiote that's Venom or Carnage is the spawn of Venom. Toxin is the spawn of Carnage.
He's like Toxin is. You're telling like that to me is like he's literally like toxic, like in some way. He's not like.
Well, yeah, I think he has slightly different abilities and stuff. I think that's probably part of it. But I just don't really have that much information. Gotcha. Other than I know that it is comic accurate that it is that like Mulligan guy.
No, I did. I looked that up and I was like, oh, okay, that makes. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. So I am leaning the way of. I really hope they are not. I really hope it doesn't matter what's happening with the Mulligan guy because. I am leaning towards. I think. Well, first of all, I think that Morbius is already. I think that Morbius is set in the MCU because it's got Vulture. You see that, and he's wearing the same, not only the same uniform, but the same number on his chest as we saw him at the end of Far From Home or the end of Homecoming. So I don't think that's an alternate universe thing. We've seen. We know that J. Jonah Jameson. We didn't know that J. Jonah Jameson was cast in this, but we do know that he's in Morbius.
Right.
And also, I feel like there's a lot less at stake of having that be in the MCU. So I think that kind of solves that. And then I think the only thing was because Venom was made so early. Because think about it, right? Like, so if they knew that this was happening, that means that they knew that this was happening while they were making Morbius. So it's like, but in 2018, that movie was written in 2016. That was way before anything. That was written before Tom Holland's first appearance on screen. You know what I mean? Like that was so much longer ago. So I hope that this is okay. We've reached a deal. Venom's not going to be in like everything. But maybe he can be. You know what I mean? Because already it's a little slightly different from what they told us because Kevin Feige's big line was, with this new deal, Spider-Man becomes the only hero to be able to cross, universes or something like that, or bridge universes, which is a lie because Venom just did it.
Right.
So I think they're just keeping him in the MCU because nothing's happening with Anne. That's all wrapped up. He in his own universe, he already left his whole life behind. Right. He went down to the beach. He was like, he was like in like Mexico or something.
That looked awful. By the way.
I think that was part of the. Oh, you mean the VFX?
Yeah, it looked terrible.
I remember that leaked like.
I feel like I did see that.
It was almost a year ago that like a shitty version of it leaked, and they were like, I remember people were like, apparently the movie ends with Venom and Eddie staring off into the sunset saying they love each other, which is exactly correct. So, so I remember that leaked like well over a year ago. Because again, this movie with COVID got pushed back like crazy.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's going to be in the MCU. That's really what I think, because well, clearly he's in the MCU right now. Right now, as a character, Eddie Brock is in the MCU. It's just a matter of will he stay there. I hope he does, because I don't want to lose. Because it's like Peter he's a part of the MCU. He has a connection to every one of those characters. He has a connection to Hulk. He has a connection to, Hawkeye. You know what I mean? Like, he knows all these different people. He's got all these connections. MJ, Ned, Aunt May, you know what I mean? Like, even if you kill half those people in Far From Home,
Jeez.
what do you... Or, I keep saying the wrong movie. Not Far From Home.
No Way Home.
No Way Home, yeah. It's not my fault. They named the movies basically the same thing. Even if you kill half those people, he's still going to have massive attachments in the MCU. Eddie has nothing. Eddie, you could just pull him over. He literally started a new life. So it's like it's no different to him. So I really hope that they're not just like, oh, well, it's more important to us to keep the Venom universe going than what we've already established.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's the point of that? But also, I'll say, so what do you think actually happened?
I think that was
because I don't think it was Venom that did it. Because
no, I was thinking that was, as you see in the Far From Home trailer, the whole Doctor Strange thing.
No Way Home.
No Way Home. The No Way Home trailer is when Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing.
Talking and blah blah blah, and the whole thing happens.
Yeah.
That's what that's what personally me.
It was definitely I think it was definitely some Doctor Strange energy.
Right.
Because it kind of has the same. Remember in his like vision quest in Doctor Strange, one of the universes is like it's like a vibrating like thing almost, and that's kind of what you hear in this. And then there's a big huge glow of Doctor Strange, of like astral energy, and then it all shifts. But it also kind of looks almost like a live action version of like the dimension sliding in Spider-Verse, because it was kind of almost like the room like bubbled and like glitched around him and changed. So that's very interesting.
Like, I could see if they were to take Tom Holland back and all those characters and everything, I could see them wanting to weave in Miles and stuff like that in there somewhere. Not to say they couldn't do it with, Marvel hand in hand, but it just worries me, like, if he comes, the Venom movies are not the best movies, and I feel like Marvel not only, like, I feel like Marvel just takes pride in what they produce and that it's quality.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sony is usually, they're just not the best movies.
And I feel like that's why.
Granted, though, they make the movies that are not, but they're still doing money. So it's like, we can do $800 million with Venom. What can we do with Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, so this is my question to you. Do you think that we're getting Venom in No Way Home or Multiverse of Madness?
Well, he's wearing the hat. He's wearing that hat.
He is wearing that
hat. Which I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's in the movie,
But also, there was like a picture of Elizabeth Olsen wearing that hat. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and right now, Scarlet Witch isn't supposed to be in that.
Right.
That we know of. But it would make sense that she was on set because half the characters are in both movies and they were filming at the same time. So
I could see him being in it. If he's not, he might show up in Doctor Strange again.
Which to me is like if they do a third Venom movie, I would think that movie would start with the Marvel Studios logo.
Oh yeah, I would
like now. I feel like maybe even Morbius will, because it was almost like, okay, this one we wanted to keep it a big secret, so it had the old school in association with Marvel, all that stuff. Because we've seen it's not common, but studios hide their logos sometimes to like not give away who's involved entirely. So like that's what I'm thinking maybe. So maybe the next Morbius trailer or something is going to say in association with Marvel Studios instead of with Marvel. I think it just says in association with Marvel. Like, it doesn't even say Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
But actually, I just remembered Kevin Feige has a credit on everything Marvel, because remember, Feige, he's not just the movies anymore. Remember, he's the president.
Yeah.
He's the chief creative officer and president of Marvel, like not just the studio, like
comics,
like
shows,
like the company
everything.
Marvel.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a slice of the pie no matter what's going on. But yeah, so I just hope, because this is exactly what I said after the first movie. I was like I'm okay with Tom Hardy's version of the character. I was like I like that. I think it's good, but I was like, I think he deserves to be in a better story with more care and attention given to the story.
Topher Grace's Venom.
Exactly. Yeah. And and I was like, if you could just put him in the MCU, which I was like, I don't know how they would do it, but I guess now they just did it. I was like, I think it would be infinitely better, because like it would be better writing, like all that kind of stuff.
I do think, what I will say is, I don't think, because I think you get a Spider-Man Venom movie eventually.
Yeah.
You know, not just like he's kind of a background character or something like that. Against a common enemy, because I just don't see.
Yeah. When do you think he's gonna get the spider logo on him? I thought maybe that's what we were gonna get in this post credit. I thought when
How does that work exactly?
He just sees Spider-Man and he puts it on his chest.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, as you can see, though, then he carries that with him to whatever character that he has, because even if it's like the Punisher or whatever, he's always got the spider on him.
Interesting.
But they're kind of doing it in kind of reverse order with him in the movie, because he hasn't met Spider-Man yet.
I mean, yeah, you think they
do the whole black suit thing too?
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe only because I think it's going to be one of those things where maybe I don't think they're going to do the like Eddie and Venom get into a fight so they separate things.
They already did it.
Maybe they get yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe they get forcibly separated, and he grabs onto Peter, and then because what it is that the reason that Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker because he screwed him over at the Bugle.
Right.
Venom hates Spider-Man because Venom wants Peter's body.
Oh, okay.
And Peter tore him off and rejected him and stuff. That's why they both agree and hate. That was another thing that was like wrong with Topher Grace's Venom, is Venom wasn't a character. It was just Eddie, but like evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and even that, like, I'd be interested to see like how Eddie, because he's a moral, like in these Venoms, he's moral. He has,
yeah, like he's
he
tries to be a good
you
guy.
Can't kill that person. So how do you weave in, if they're going to be enemies in this universe? How do you weave in Eddie Brock ending up trying to hate? Because you know, Peter is how old? Tom Hardy is, his character is what, like 26, 27, and Tom Holland's Peter's what, like 18?
I think so. Yeah.
So like, how do you get them to kind of, especially because he's not from this universe. So how do you get them to meet, dislike each other, and then you have this whole thing? Like, maybe they just end up being on the same side.
Maybe it's one of those things where if they're forcibly separated,
and
then he goes on to Peter. Which, by the way, what movie is this? What are we even talking about? What movie is this going to happen?
Nah.
If there was like a Spider-Man 2.5 coming out like that before No Way Home, like, I don't know if we have time for all this Venom subplot stuff, but I mean, bring it on. I would love, if you're telling me the fourth Spider-Man movie is going to be all about him and Venom. Bring it on. Oh my God, that would be so great. This is how I would see it. Maybe something happens to Eddie, and then they get separated, and Eddie's kind of knocked out, and then when Eddie wakes up, he's like, where's Venom? Sees on TV or something that Spider-Man has him, or that Spider-Man and Venom like merged. And then maybe Eddie's mad at Peter or at Spider-Man for taking Venom from him, that kind of thing. And then Venom gets mad because maybe he liked being with Peter, and now he's back with it. Or not that he doesn't like Eddie, but that he liked the power. That's what he likes. He likes the power that Peter has because it like amplifies Venom's power even more. So maybe that would be it. Like, Eddie would be mad at Peter because he thought he was like trying to steal Venom away from him, basically. But maybe it was just a misunderstanding or something. But yeah, or maybe he just goes and they both work at the Bugle in Spider-Man 4, and we get a very similar story to what happens in most other places.
Right. Well, the whole Bugle thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a podcast, though. Is that an actual newspaper in this universe?
No, I think it's like an InfoWars thing.
Oh, okay. So yeah, maybe they just
Yeah.
both work there. Yeah. Oh man, I'm pretty hyped. I'm not gonna lie. Like the movies weren't that great, but I'm still excited to see what they kind of do.
Exactly. Yeah. I think
Hopefully it's not
no
bad.
matter what, the thing that we have to be excited for to look forward to is no matter what, the next time we see Tom Hardy's Venom is less than a year from now, and it'll have a Marvel Studios logo at the start. And I think that's a positive thing to look forward to. And that's something that I did not think was going to happen. I mean, I mean, people were assuming like, okay, what's like, maybe he's going to be in it. Like there was that rumor going around that we haven't seen a No Way Home poster yet because
Venom's
Tom Hardy's on
poster.
it. Yeah. Or because
Hardy,
they have to give away the billing, like Tom Hardy's name would be on it. That may be 100%
It is true.
true.
It comes out in 2 months.
Yeah. We don't even have a single official poster yet.
Huh. That's weird.
So maybe that's true. Maybe that's why they did it. But either way, I think a very, very cool way to end the movie.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Do you think the post-credit scene was better than the whole movie?
I can't say that.
Would you rather
the thing
watch the
sorry,
whole movie
real-
again
real
to watch
quick.
the scene,
Or
or just watch the scene?
probably just watch the scene. I don't want to watch the movie again. Really,
Really?
I don't have any desire to.
Fair enough.
Also, it didn't feel like an hour and a half to me. It felt like 2.
Yeah.
I felt like I was sitting there a long time. So I don't really know how that happened. How that
It somehow
works.
dragged and was rushed.
Yeah.
time.
Again, like it suffered the same thing as the first one, where it's like, oh, we're fighting now. It's like, what? When did that happen? His last quick question: His fire always been a weakness as well, or I thought it was always just sound.
I don't know. I think that might have been like a retcon too. I don't know about the fire.
It was in the first
comics.
one. It was in the first one.
Oh, right.
But
Because
I just meant like comic accurate. Like,
I'm not
was
sure.
it in
I'm not sure. I know sound. Obviously, that's the
yeah.
main thing. Which obviously, you can see the writing on the wall with Shriek from moment one. where
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like-
I when that happened, I was like, okay, when
Yeah.
is she gonna
Yeah.
yell? or
And I'll
whatever?
say, in terms of just a story beat, like I liked the thing of like, oh, that's how he ultimately defeated Carnage. Was they're not symbiotic. It's not a good symbiote. It's like, which, again, it's kind of like a retcon, not even of the first movie, of this movie. When you're not symbiotic with somebody, though, like you kill them, like what Venom does. Remember when
right,
he just
you saw it in the first movie a lot.
Yeah, and in this one, he just hops body to body, and he's like, another one bites the dust. Like,
that was maybe.
so it's kind of
The
weird.
body to body thing was probably the most ridiculous thing in the first one,
Mm-hmm.
when it's literally traveling across the planet, person to person,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then suddenly the little girl just like shows up at this laboratory.
yeah, that was a little questionable.
Like what?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say this. I agree with you. I think a little more than a fraction, because I think I gave the first one a 2 out of 5, and this one I gave 3 out of 5. So I think I liked it. I liked it a little bit more, but not really by much. But yeah, I think
That'll
about
do
do
it for
it, I think.
today.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining us on episode 57. Let us know if you guys weren't a part of the live chat. You can let us know in the comments down below, or you can tweet at us at the official PFN what your thoughts were on Venom. Let There Be Carnage. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. As far as me, I've been one of your hosts, Sean Monk. You can follow me at the real Sean Monk. And you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at the official PFN, and that is where we've been posting content pretty regularly over there. So check out all that stuff, and yeah, that'll do it for me.
And I've been your host, TJ Cornwell. Like Sean said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought of the movie in the comments, or maybe what you thought of the box office the past week, or the morning show, or Ted Lasso. Or if you're excited for Tiger King Part 2. I'm
Maybe
sure
you
there's
are.
people out
I don't
there,
know.
because I'm pretty sure the Joel McHale thing did not do it for a lot of people.
Yeah, no. Episode
It was
13.
very bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at TJ_Cornwell. Keep an eye out for more reaction videos and stuff like that. What?
I think I figured out what the echo was.
What?
The stream was playing in the background the whole time with the volume on like 5%.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. So sorry if there's any audio.
Audio better next week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next week. Peace out.
See you next week. Peace out, Mother Fs.